Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are all well on your Thursday evening for this week's big match preview as we look back at yet another late winner for the Addicks during the week against Peterborough at the Valley, and of course ahead to Saturday's trip up to big spending Birmingham City. Joining me to look at those two games, first up top right, Mr. Mark Newbury. How do you, Mark?
I'm all right, mate. I'm just getting ready for all the cards and stuff which are going to come through my letterbox tomorrow. So, live in hope.
Yeah, well, are they bailiff requests or what are we talking about?
Generally, restraining orders, but might get one single Valentine's card. Who knows?
Lovely stuff. Also, bottom of the screen there, a man who I'm sure receives Valentine's cards every day of the year, Mr. Tom Willing. How you doing, Tom?
From a certain somebody, yeah. Still every year he sends me one. But I'm all good, thank you. Well, I've got a bit of a cold, as you can probably hear, but maybe it's playoff fever. I don't know, but I'm doing all right.
Coming down with a nasty bout of playoff fever or something perhaps you've caught off missed playoffs. So, you've got to use protection, mate. On tonight's show then, as I said, we'll look back at the game against the Posh. We'll hear the goals very shortly. We're going to hear from the Addicks boss, Nathan Jones. We're going to hear from the match winner on Tuesday as well, Macaulay Gillesphey. Of course, we'll look ahead to the Birmingham game. We've got a Blues fan joining us later on in the show, John, the Birmingham fan who was chatting with a few of you in the chat on Sunday. Is going to join us and tell us, about how much money they've spent this week, I imagine. But yeah, we will look forward to that as well. Before we dive into the goals, let's just say good evening to everyone joining us in the chat. Mickey says, evening all. Thankfully, another 3 points in the bag on Tuesday. It's getting frustrating to watch us just getting over the line. It must take mentally a lot out of the team. But yeah, good evening to you, Mickey. Gary's in there, Andrew Spamfish. Keith, John, Scott, Jacob, Anthony, Mike Salmon's in there, Paul's in there, Dudley. Let us know your thoughts ahead of Saturday's game up at Birmingham. What did you enjoy about Tuesday's performance as well against the Posh as the Addicks find another late winner at the Valley? Let's have a quick listen back to the goals from Charlton TV. Brownie is alongside Greg and Terry.
Low cross, takes the deflection, comes away. Torres Campbell, that hits the hand of Sam Hughes, and the referee has given Charlton a penalty. It will be Matty Godden. Charlton striker in form at the moment, grabs the ball. Can he give Charlton the lead that they deserve here? Referee blows his whistle. Matty Godden steps up and beyond Jed Steer. The sniffer dog has another one. He keeps the ball in play and then
that's a poor challenge.
And catches Thierry Small, and Charlton aren't happy with that, and Lee Swarbrick has a decision to make. Lee Swarbrick has sent off the Peterborough man. The visitors' night goes from bad to worse. Gillesphey looks for Jones, gets beyond Ramsey and goes to the floor, and Charlton conceded a penalty. Kane Ramsey tripping the heels of the Peterborough man. Ramsey's booked and Peterborough have the penalty.
I think they want him off as well.
Blows his whistle. Nozil steps up and sends Maynard Brewer the wrong way, and Peterborough have an equaliser.
Charlton corner. Gilbert drills it across. Gillesphey into the corner and a goal! Macaulay Gillesphey met the corner on the full with his head and guided it back across the goal. And the 6-yard box to give Charlton the lead. What a time to come up with that header. I mean, we've seen a late goal here recently against Shrewsbury. It's not quite as late as that, but that is equally as important in terms of the context of where this season is. We had a chance to go to 5th tonight with 3 points on the board. And it's the placement of the header. He wriggles away from his man. It's a driven ball. And he just guides it towards that far corner, that left-hand post of Steers, and it goes through 2 or 3 bodies and nestles into the back of that net, and that is a massive goal.
It certainly is. Another massive goal, a massive win at the Valley. Charlton's winning streak is just getting a bit ridiculous now. Just 1 defeat in 13 games, Mark. We've won 5 of our last 6 at the Valley. This one took its time, but we got there in the end. What a great moment when Macca planted that header in the bottom corner.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. Because for about 10 minutes before that, I just thought to myself, it's not happening. It's not happening. We had, once they equalised, and we didn't really sort of like let that affect us too much. We still have the numbers. And I just thought to myself, this is just going to be one of those games. It's going to finish a draw, or they get a spawny late one themselves. So when that corner came over, and it's a great header and goes for a lot of bodies to nestle in the back. And then someone said online is that not just watching him, watch the whole team celebrating. It was really, it was a joy to see. And it's just, we've added consistency to our play, which is just fantastic. We've been screaming for it for years. And just now it's, I could wax lyrical about some of our football on Tuesday night. We had passages like 10 minutes here and there where we just looked so good. We didn't look like a team who had been struggling at the start of the season, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I still struggle to understand how the start of the season happened. Now, when you look at the context of the campaign as a whole, Tom, and how well it's been turned around over the last 2-3 months now, and it's an incredible turnaround. We reference it every week. I mean, one of the things that we can talk about is our remarkable record of scoring late in games. I think in the last 10-15 minutes of games, we are up there as the highest goal scorers. I think joint with Bolton, but they've also conceded a lot in that time. We end games so strongly, and did that again. We did it against Shrewsbury recently, and we've done it again. I mean, it's picking us up so many points the way we finish games at the moment.
People always say, don't they, that these sorts of things even themselves out. So you concede in the 97th minute or something, and at some point you'll get it back. Seems to have taken us about 2 seasons to do that, because we must have been about -8 or 9 late goals coming into this season. And now we're just about balancing that out with the late goals we're scoring. But it's intentional. I don't think it is luck. And it comes down to a combination of things. I think the belief and the unity that Mark speaks about, this is a unit that just refused to give up and refused to know that they're beaten. And I think also fitness. And again, we've spoken a lot about it this season, but I genuinely think the players are fitter than a lot of the other teams. The fact that every week I arrive at the Valley and I refresh Twitter and I see that Nathan Jones has gone with an unchanged 11 again, and every time I'm fooled and I'm walking down to the stadium, I'm like, oh no, I wish he'd changed it because they're going to be a bit tired. And they just prove me wrong every single week. They run 90+ minutes. A lot of them, obviously there's some rotation with substitutes, but lots of them are playing 95 minutes twice a week for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks and don't really seem overawed by it at all. Some of the games we're having to sit back and soak up pressure. Other games we're having more of the ball and maybe not having to work so hard, but it's a combination of those things. And going into the latter stages, a bit like Mark said, I felt the only slight difference, I just felt like that goal was always coming. And I felt the same at the Stevenage game when Thierry Small scored. I'm not counting us out. Whereas there's been other games where we're ahead already and I'm going, we'll probably find a way to throw this away like we were doing regularly under Appleton. I just feel the complete reverse now. We've got so much talent and so much opportunity across that squad that, when the likes of Small do score or Macaulay Gillesphey, of course it's more of a surprise than a Leeburn or a Godden, but still I'm like, well, no, because those players are prepared to take a chance and have a go, and fair play to them, because as you say, the amount of points we picked up in that last 10-15 minutes of games is the difference between being out of it completely now and being in the playoffs.
Yeah, and particularly for Macaulay Gillesphey then, Mark, I mean, he's taken his fair share of stick this season for some of the mistakes he's made, but, he's played his part in a defence that overall this season's done well, but a moment like that in front of the covered end, that's not going to do anyone any harm. And it was a wonderful header. The delivery from Gilbert was sort of arrowed and pinpoint, but he still had a lot to do. He's sort of running away from it and nodded it back across. I mean, if I was a Peterborough fan, you're asking whenever one sneaks in like that, you're thinking, why is there not a man on the post? But Macca saw there wasn't one there, and he planted the ball exactly where he needed to. Yeah,
it was beautiful flat ball coming in at pace and actually arrowed in. And Gillesphey has been probably the whipping boy when it didn't go well. And yes, he's made a mistake, but they all have. I personally think he's happier in a 2 at the back, as opposed to being part of a 3. I think that's always been his thing. We know he's got a good foot on him and he can ping a diagonal ball across. Playing alongside, I can say again, consistent, same left back, same centre-half partnership, same right back, same guys in front of him, same goalkeeper. And that kind of thing comes through. Is he... the best we've seen in the back? No. Is he the worst? By God, no. I know I can name you 4 worse than him off the top of my head. But and I'm glad. And he seems, it'll probably come across. I don't know. You interviewed him. He was a bit shy because they wanted him to do the cheer to the crowd, and he was a bit, no, I don't really want to do it, kind of thing. And he did the jump, which they've got to learn how to get some height. I mean, I did a tunnel jump once, and I think I got higher than that, and I'm about 17 stone. So, but no, it's good to see he's settling now. And like I say, I think it's just because he's more comfortable in a 2 than he is in a 3.
Yeah, well, I thought it was the other way around, really. In terms of he's looked better in a 3 when we've played a 2. He's perhaps not had as much cover. But Isaac said thoughts on Macca not wanting to do the celebration. As Mark said, I think it's just a little bit of shyness, really. But we hear from him later on in the show. Maybe he's not really one to grab the attention like that and sort of dive up and down. But that first half, I felt it took us 10 minutes to get going, maybe 15, 20 actually, Tom. But, thankfully, Ashley didn't need to go down injured this time before we actually started playing. And that spell before half-time was just relentless. I mean, the RXG at half-time, if you like that sort of thing, was over 1, which is quite rare in a first period, whilst theirs was still 0.02 at half-time. So it started to feel like it was going to get frustrating until obviously we got that goal early in the second half, and then you think, right, plain sailing from here.
Yeah, as you say, for about 15 minutes, I was a little bit unsure about what way the game was going, and we said around us where I sit that we need Ash to go down with his broken leg again and get them all rallied. I can't remember if there was an actual opportunity to do that. I feel like there might have been, but either way, we sorted it out a lot earlier than we did at the weekend. And yeah, just started to play our football again. And from sort of 20 minutes onwards to half time, it was like we'd picked up from the back half of the weekend's game, to be honest. It was just a continuation of that. And some of the football was great. I'm not going to say it's Barcelona of the early noughties, but we're moving the ball quickly. We're moving the ball well. We're disrupting teams. We're making teams uncomfortable. And with that midfield for 3 months of the season, maybe more, was the big sticking point of this show. We kept coming back to the fact that midfield was not working. Coventry now arguably has been man of the match 2 games in a row. He's looking almost better than Dobson ever did, I think, in his ability to get around the pitch and what he offers. And I never thought I'd say that. Doherty is now adding at both ends of the pitch. I always think he did a lot of the dirty work at the back end, but now when he gets on the ball, he's providing spark. Berry looks like he's gone about 5 years younger since Gilbert arrived, and maybe that is just having someone playing behind him now and putting him under pressure. And the link-up play, and we talked about it at the weekend, the fact that they all just know where each other are going to be now, that was always going to take some time. But I never thought from the early part of the season we'd be moving the ball like we are. And it's just it's a pleasure to watch. And to your point, at half-time in a game like that, at 0-0, I'm not just thinking, we're probably going to labour to this, or as Mark says, the other team are going to spawn one and win this game. I'm thinking, okay, this team, so long as they keep their heads and so long as they keep just doing what they're good at, they will roll over most teams at this level. Which, to be fair, at the start of the season before we kicked a ball, we said we hopefully would do. The only concern we had was that we thought the league was going to be better than it is. Now that actually it's not that good, we're now proving that actually we can be better than these teams, apart from maybe 1 or 2, one of which obviously is coming up. So, yeah, I think it's taken us a little while to gel. It's taken us a little while to realise that actually we should be better than a lot of this league. But now we're going to those games and we are just rolling teams over. And again, as we spoke about on Sunday, we wanted points from all the home games, or we've won them all, as far as I know. So, yeah, I don't want to just say Birmingham's a free hit, because I think we should go there and take this game seriously. But what a great opportunity to maybe even kick on and get some in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, the benefit of this run we have had, I said going into the 5 games we just had, I would have taken 10 points, and I think we've taken 13, because we've only dropped points against Blackpool, so we're almost ahead of schedule, which in a way it takes the pressure off Saturday against Birmingham, but that is not the way that we will approach this game whatsoever. That is, Nathan Jones is not going up to Birmingham on Saturday saying, don't worry about this one, lads, we've just beaten Peterborough at home in the last minute, we'll be fine. So we got the goal early second half, Mark. Penalty, Godden, my initial reaction was it was a penalty. Godden put it away as you'd expect him to. Like I said, at that point, I thought, right, we're sorted, especially when they went down to 10. And it was a red card. Fernandez went in over the ball on Thierry Small. But then, I mean, there was perhaps a contentious point with the penalty. So there's three contentious things about it. A, did he touch it? And B, was he going for the ball? And therefore, if he wasn't, should he have been sent off? All of those things, like, so was the contact inside or outside the box? Nathan Jones doesn't seem to mind about it too much. Probably would have minded more if we hadn't won. But yeah, Darren Ferguson felt that Ramsey should have been sent off because he felt that the double jeopardy rule wouldn't been taken into account because that only counts if you're making a challenge for the ball. And he felt that Kane didn't make a challenge for the ball. I mean, have you seen it back? Have you had a view on that?
Yeah, it's funny. I think there's a case to be made for both penalties. Obviously, I'm going to accept ours. Their one, when I saw it, I thought to myself, it was outside the box, and the guy has just lost his footing. So, and then when I saw him point to the spot, I thought, well, if he's pointing to the spot, it's probably going to be a yellow card, which was benefit, and the other guy put it away. I can see them both being given. I can see them both not being given, if that's not a bit weird. And for Darren Ferguson, I could give two hoots what he thinks. Absolutely. The Nepo manager he is. I can't stand the man. And I think the red card was a red card. I know Benji of this parish didn't think it was, but if you watch it, the guy, he wasn't in control. He was lunging. He's caught Thierry over the ankle, halfway up the shin. What I liked, which is something we normally do, was like 6 of our players straight away to the referee saying, waving their arms and saying how bad it was. And normally, previous cut times, tackles like that, we've sort of like let it go a bit. But with this one, they were all saying that was a bad tackle because the referee thought about it before he pulled out a red card. And again, 1-0 up, down to 10 men, you're thinking, right, this is it. So, it just shows that they've got to be switched on. And I think if it had finished 1-1, I don't think Peterborough would have deserved it because I just think our play deserved the win for that game. But, Ferguson, he can jog on.
Yeah, I mean, particularly in the first half. I mean, we could have comfortably been 2-0 up at half-time minimum, like the amount of chances we were creating. And that's why I was concerned it was going to be, the cliched one of those nights, but we came away with it. James says he's surprised that Ramsey wasn't sent off. He didn't go for the ball, so he should have gone, really. A bit of luck at last. I mean, Andrew's saying taking our chances is still a problem. We'll need some goals from midfield. But I reiterate this. It's gone under the radar how many goals we're scoring. We're scoring a consistent 2 goals a game at the moment. Over the last 10 games, there's only one team in this division that's outscored us, and it's not even the one we're playing Saturday. It's Leyton Orient. We are scoring plenty of goals at the moment. So I genuinely feel like the Charlton of the first half of the season, where we were really good defensively but we couldn't score a goal, that sort of painted some of our minds, and we're thinking, we're not scoring enough goals, but we are. We're scoring plenty of goals now. That's not actually been a problem for us. So yeah, really, really, really pleased. So yeah, we've been through the goals. Just want to talk about Gilbert. Came on Alex Gilbert, obviously relatively late. Whipped in the good corner, Tom. What did you make of his? It wasn't his debut because he came on for the last couple of minutes on the weekend as well. But what did you make of his second appearance for the Addicks?
Oh, he looked good. Yeah, I thought he looked good. I'm interested to see a little bit more. Obviously, as you say, it's still early days, but he got more minutes than he did at the weekend. As I say, if nothing else, all I need him to do, all we need him to do, is to push Berry to perform, because he's got someone breathing down his neck. But if he can come on and add to that, then even better. It was a brilliant corner. How many times has it been a cliche of your tweets, corner comes to nothing? So even just scoring from a set piece alone is kind of worth him coming in. But I think he adds a little bit more in terms of his movement around the pitch as well. As I say, I know I said Berry seems to have sort of gained a few years, or lost a few years, if you like, and seems to be belying his age, but obviously Gilbert comes in and adds that energy as well. So I just think it's really exciting. I hope we don't ever have to change shape, but I don't know if we now could, with him and Berry and Doc and Coventry and Anderson, whether you can do something different if you have to. But yeah, I didn't know much about him or McIntyre when we got them over the line in terms of their playing style, but he's one of those that sort of feels like he just slots right in. So yeah, really encouraged by the sort of cameos he's had so far. I suspect they will continue to be, unless there is a reason to drop Berry based on what Nathan Jones has done with his side over the previous few weeks. But yeah, so far he's done enough to warrant more game time for sure.
Yeah, lovely little touch in the build-up to a chance for TC as well, where he turned it around the corner. That was a really sort of like the sort of pass that was quite exciting to watch, and gets got us away on the right-hand side. Joe said it's a great positive that the starting 11 have made it near impossible for Nathan Jones to drop them. But another positive is that Gilbert provided quality when he came on to the pitch. Charlton all-time fantasy 11 says they were no joke, turned us around 5 or 6 times and some great last-ditch defending. We could have had though another 3 or 4 if it hadn't been for that. It was weird. Peterborough were weird. Like at times in that first 10 minutes, I thought they don't look like a side who should be down where they are, because they put us under a bit of pressure. But also, I mean, I tweeted before the game or during the game, they're 4th highest scorers in the league. They don't struggle going forward overall. What they do struggle with is defensively. But then when all of a sudden Jed Steer's having a great game and they're putting in all those blocks on the line in the first half, you start to get a little bit concerned. But yeah, defensively seems to be their problem over the course of the whole season. And I think that's maybe partly they've conceded too many goals from set pieces, as we found out, thankfully, towards the end on Saturday. Rustos says Gilbert is class, to be fair, but he won't start as Jones won't upset the side and no one deserves to lose their place. I think why would you change a winning team? But it is good to have those people sort of backing them up. Right, let's have a listen to what the Addicks boss had to say on Tuesday. Yet another win at the Valley. I spoke to Nathan Jones after we beat Peterborough 2-1. Nathan, another win here at the Valley. How did you see that today?
Look, it's probably a little more hairy than we would have liked it to be. I thought after the first 5 minutes we were pretty dominant. First half should have gone or would have liked to have gone in ahead. We had enough chances, enough situations, enough possession, everything. And I was just disappointed half time, but just had to keep at it. Then we came out, got the goal, and then it just probably got a little bit more tricky than we would have liked it to, And as I said, these have got real talent, especially in high areas, pace. So it's always tricky with 10 men, but then when they go a goal down as well, they've got nothing to lose. So it takes a professionalism, and I thought we nullified them really. I think they've only had a few shots in terms of that, and then it was just about, could we find enough quality? Could we find that opening to win the game? I thought we had done it just before we did score, but wonderful way to win a game.
You're always going to have that belief as well. There's so many late goals in this team over the course of the season. They never stop.
No, and look, it's a lot of things. It's a mentality first and foremost, that you have that mentality. You want to keep going. Then you have to have the fitness levels, the energy, the aggression to go and do it, and then you just want that little bit of quality. And we've got people we can bring off the bench as well to provide quality, and that's what we did today.
Great header from Macaulay Gillesphey. I mean, it's a wonderful moment for him in front of the covered end.
Yeah, it was actually. And look, I don't care who scores, but it's lovely for Alex Gilbert to put, great ball in, a wonderful header back across where it came from, textbook in terms of everything. And as I said, we've had enough. We've had 3 clear-cut chances today. We've had 19 shots, 8 on target, a lot of possession as you'd expect. But I'm really, really pleased that we kept going. And as I said, it's all about the win at this stage now. In terms of everything, it's all about the win. But I felt we deserved it.
You've had loads of players who've recovered really well from minor setbacks this season. Obviously, Macaulay had that one at Blackpool a couple of weeks ago, but since then he's probably been pretty flawless.
Well, look, when they make mistakes, they know they don't need telling, right? That they've made mistakes. It's just don't keep doing them. Today, I felt the only way they were going to score was from a turnover, which they did. They scored from that because they've got that pace and power up front, and real tricky players and quality players, coveted players in high areas. So that's all we conceding from at the minute. Blackpool was 2 counter-attacks. That was a counter-attack. So we've got to make sure that we do that. And he's recovered fantastically well, but he's in a good moment. He's in a good stage of his career. He's learning. He's aggressive. He's technically very, very good, and it's just about making him better week in, week out.
Just on their penalty, Ferguson was just in here, said he thought Kane might have been sent off. He thought the double jeopardy rule wouldn't have come into play there if Kane wasn't making a challenge for the ball. What was your view on it?
Look, I think what it is, he said it's a penalty because he does foul, but he's making a genuine attempt for the ball. The ball goes wide, so he's not scoring from that. But it is a thing. So I don't see how that's an argument. I thought the referee got all decisions right tonight. All big ones. It's definitely a penalty for us. It's definitely a penalty for them, and it's a red card. He's gone over the. It's a bad challenge. So I don't agree with that, but obviously I'm probably not going to. But if you look at it, the double jeopardy thing, he's made a genuine attempt for the ball. This guy's just too quick. He's going wide, so he's not going to score from it. So I don't really see where the red card comes from.
You mentioned how well you sort of nullified Peterborough as well. One of the highest scorers in the league, despite their position. And after the first sort of 5 minutes where they had a couple of forays, and even then you dealt with them both, didn't really have much at all for a while.
I felt they were more dangerous when they went out to 10 men because they could play with the freedom then. They kept 2 up. They were very brave. They kept 2 up. And any time he turned it over, then they can have sporadic things. So we had to defend very, very well. And I thought Kane was excellent in terms of how he defended that. But we are. And, and these are a high possession, high scoring team. But they had neither tonight. So that shows that we've done something well tonight.
Up to 5th, obviously no surprise with the run of form you've had. I think 1 defeat in 13 and another win at home, not losing many games at all. A lot of Charlton fans are sort of starting to look upwards now. Are you worrying about the table too much? Are you looking up at 2nd or just focusing on yourselves again?
As you said, we just constantly focus on what we do. What we said was from the moment we came in, we had to change the mentality to win games, to not get beat, and to keep clean sheets, to be defensively really strong and disciplined. We've managed to do that, and then while doing that, we're starting to build a real fluid structure in possession and attacking wise, and we're scoring. So, we're in a good position, but we're a constant work in progress. We're nowhere near the finished article. We're nowhere near where we want to be. We're in a good moment, but look, we are nowhere near where we want to be yet.
So there's still more levels you can go up, you feel?
Absolutely. We can still be more fluid. We can still convert more chances. We can still create and have more quality in those areas. We can still keep more clean sheets. It's constant work in progress. We're in a really good, realistic place for where we've come from, and we just have to keep building that.
He's absolutely relentless, isn't he, this man? Because I was asked, I did a quick bit on Radio London last night, and I was asked by Nick Godwin, Mark, sort of how, now Charlton are in the top 6, how do they stay there? How do they make sure they don't drop their levels? That they've got over this psychological chase to get into the top 6. They're there now, but there's still, 17, 18 games left to go? So I just said, I don't think Nathan is the sort of man who would accept any levels dropping between now and the end of the season. He's demanding more.
Yeah, and rightly so, and he should be. And the players, confidence is sky high, and that should be as well. And it's confidence breeds success, success breeds confidence. And you look at, like I said, you look at the way they celebrated after Macca's goal. The whole team just went a bit wild, even though there was like another 8 or 9 minutes to go, whatever. And you're right, the way Nathan is, he's on them. He's not stopping. He's not stopping for 96 minutes on that touchline to instruct them, to bark them. I mean, I've said before, do I think it's a little too much? Yeah, I think possibly it is. I think just let them sometimes play, but it's working for them and it's working for him. So can we keep it up for another 17 games? I haven't seen anything yet which will make you go, no, we can't do that. Obviously, injuries would play a part, but I think now we're looking much more compact as a team, and players on the bench who we've got are actually making a difference. And when they're coming on, you're not going, it's a downgrade. It's a like for like or an upgrade, and it's they seem to be buying into it. And if the players are buying into it, it's only going to be beneficial all round for everyone as you watch it. So I think carry on, Nathan, because there's no reason for him to stop doing what he's doing.
Right. I mean, it was fresh in my mind on Tuesday night. Then, so obviously, as everyone loves, I put the graph out to show that we are now well above the playoff line currently on a points per game basis, which immediately led to quite a lot of fans asking me if I'm going to put the second place line that we had a look at on Sunday up. So I thought I'll ask Nathan just to see what he's thinking about second place. But I mean, we're 9 points off it on a points per game basis. I mean, Wycombe have got a game in hand as well, so we are quite far off it. But the run of form we're on is certainly giving us a very good chance of cementing our place in the top 6, and I think that's the most important thing, Tom. Like I said a few weeks ago, we've got to make hay while the sun is shining. While we've got no injuries, we've got to get as many points up front as possible, and we're doing that. So the longer this goes on, the more comfortable it's going to be for us. So we just got to he's got to be relentless for as long as physically possible.
If we get 13 points from the next 5 games, for the next 3 blocks of that, so for the next 15 games we get, 39 points, then yes. But can we? You say about the make hay analogy, and you're right. We've played, let's not kid ourselves, we played a lot of poor teams over the past month or so. Doesn't take anything away from us. We had earlier stages in the season where we've played poor teams and lost to them. But we've gone to those teams and we've got results this time. We're about to go into Birmingham away, Barnsley. We've got Stockport away. We've got teams that are up there. We've still got Wickham to play. We've still got Wrexham to play. There's somebody else I'm missing. That we've got Orient away. So there's a huge amount of more difficult fixtures to come. I'm not saying we won't get anything from that. We may well do. And I think we're in the sort of form that means we might. But that will be a test. If we come out of that still hitting 2 points a game on average, then we are probably, bearing in mind we're going to have taken points off some of those teams by default, we're probably going to be knocking around 2nd, 3rd place by that point. But a couple of losses down there and that changes everything. So, yeah, I'm not getting carried away either. I think, look, let's just make sure we get into playoffs. That was the aim at the start of the season. That's the aim now. But if we do start to get a couple of results against some of those teams, of course, the conversation's going to change in exactly the same way that when we lost to Crawley, we weren't having this sort of conversation. But you can't look too far ahead. You've just got to take those little blocks and have a look. So, I mean, it would be amazing to be sat here in a month and be 4 or 5 points off the automatics and saying, right, now we're really serious about this. But if we're not, if we're just cemented in the middle of the playoffs with very little sort of worry of falling out of it, I'll be absolutely delighted with that as well, based on where we were, as I say, 7-8 weeks ago.
Yeah, Paul saying I'm turning into an optimist, talking about both automatic promotion and the sun shining. Well, we haven't had experience of either for a long time, it feels like. So, Tom was saying that we've come up against some lower sort of lower place sides, but Isaac has pointed out that they're front-footed, well-drilled, well-coached, and tough places to go, and we've played them every week. According to Nathan Jones. So, Mickey says we don't have much of a problem with the better teams. The problem we have is with the lower teams, and that will be interesting with the difference. I mean, the top 3 have come to the Valley, and we've taken 7 points from 9 against them. Stockport and top 4, you took another point against them. So, I mean, sixth place Huddersfield. We've not lost to anyone above us in the table this season. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we have. Until, obviously that could change Saturday, but hoping it won't. So yeah, remarkable. A good point. It's been raised quite a few times now, but about the low crowds. Jane saying, why aren't they coming back? I mean, there can't have been more than 7,000 there again on Tuesday, Mark. The Sky TV thing might play a part in it, but if you can come, it would be nice to see people there. But I know not everyone's situation is as straightforward as, just turn up, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it does. There's lots of factors why people don't go for commitments or work and midweek games. Midweek games have generally, in this division, been less attended. Weather, it sounds like an excuse but some people it is, and also a financial thing, because obviously if a season ticket holder is there, yes, we're doing really well, but is it going to be one of those games which will go, Charlton, Peterborough? So, say you're a neutral, and you're thinking, we'll go watch football. Is it going to appeal to you? Was it Man City playing Madrid on TV at the same time as well? So casual fans, you're not going to pick up. It will get better, and fans will come back, and there's no magic wand to get them back in. But you can't criticise people for not going, because everyone's got different circumstances. It'd be in an ideal world for us to go. Yes, you will, but I'm not going to criticise someone who, for whatever reason, decides they can't go or won't go. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone has different situations. The club have obviously got to try and work hard to get people in the door. I think it's quite hard to do that in League One, but if you can, try and get to a couple of games every now and then when you can, because you're missing out at the moment. But yeah, feel free to come back to SE7. Right, Macaulay Gillesphey had a chat with him after his winning goal on Tuesday night. These are his thoughts on the win over the Posh. Congratulations, the match winner today. How did that feel?
Yeah, great. It's an amazing feeling scoring a goal, especially to win a game. just buzzing with the 3 points, to be honest.
Yeah, and talk us through the moment. It's a great delivery from Alex, but I mean, you still had a lot to do when it came over.
I think the delivery was spot on, to be fair. He had enough power on it just to let it hit me head, and thankfully it went in.
There's a lot of bodies between yourself and the goal as well. Was it just about directing it right in that corner?
Yeah, I think that's my thought process, to be fair. Once it has hit me head, is just to try and get it in that far corner, which it has done.
Was it a bit of a relief? Because I mean, it felt like it would have been a bit of a travesty if Charlton hadn't taken all 3 points today.
Yeah, it would have been a tough one to take if we didn't get the 3 points. But with the squad we've got, we know we can score late goals, and we knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a recurring theme this season. I think yourselves and Wickham are the two sides that have scored the most goals in the last 10 minutes of games. What is it in the squad that keeps you going like that?
I don't know. It's just as long as the games go on and we see we're drawn or if we're behind, I think we've just got that belief that we can come back or get the winners. I think that's what it is.
Talk us through the game as a whole. Obviously, in the first half, after maybe 5-10 minutes, it felt like it was pretty much one-way traffic, but the goal didn't come. And obviously, once you did get one, Peterborough get back into it. What was your view on the entire game?
I thought we were good. I think we've been brilliant recently. I think we're doing the right things at the right times. We're patient with the ball. We're doing the load of diags when we need to. But I think overall, we definitely deserve the win.
The form at the moment is remarkable. You know how good this run has been as well. Do you feel like as a side that there's still further you can go, you can get better?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing we are good at, is improving each week, and I'm sure everyone can see we are doing that at the minute. But we've just got to keep on plugging away and keep on going.
So the question I've asked a lot of players, if you take you back maybe a couple of months ago when obviously the form wasn't as good, was there still that belief in the squad that this could happen?
Yeah, of course. I think that's why we're doing well now, is because we had that belief. We had the conversation many times that we need to improve, and I think we have done so. I think that's the main thing.
What do you think has been the catalyst for that turnaround over the last 2-3 months now?
I think it's just the confidence in all the lads on the pitch, not worrying about anything, just cracking on and doing what we need to do.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, you had your own setback a couple of weeks ago at Blackpool, and you had to show some mental strength to come back from that. How do you sort of find that strength within to do that sort of stuff?
Personally, for me, I never get too high and I never get too low. Like I've scored the winner today, I'll not get too high about it. If I make a mistake, I won't get too low. I'll just try and do the best I can for the team and keep going. And
obviously played your part in one of the best defences in the league. I mean, you must be really pleased with how well Charlton have defended this season. Yeah,
I think as a team, from the front to the back, I think we've been brilliant. The work ethic is fantastic, and it's starting to show.
Into fifth now in the division, obviously well placed, but it's about keeping that momentum going. I mean, are you looking at the sides below you? Are you looking above to see if you can maybe catch up with second? For
me personally, I don't actually look at that, to be honest. I just want to concentrate on us and keep trying to win games.
And obviously Birmingham coming up on Saturday. We're one of two sides that have beaten them this season. It's a massive occasion for the Addicks. Are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, it's a good game to be involved in. It's a big game, and hopefully we can get the 3 points.
You sort of go there with no fear, I guess. I mean, you've shown you can beat them already this season.
Of course, yeah, but you've got to show them some respect. They're a good side, got a lot of good players, but just got to believe in ourselves and go there and try and get the 3 points.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live. This is the big match preview. Time to look ahead then to Saturday's trip up to St Andrews to take on the table toppers, Birmingham City. Delighted to say that we're now joined by a Birmingham City fan. John joins us here on Charlton Live with a little line below his name there that says "In for a shock." Good evening, John. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. You were in our comment section over the weekend, and you were having some good conversations actually with Addicks fans. I mean, let's start immediately with your little tagline there. Then in for a shock, because that's what we all told you at the start of the season. You're going to be in for a shock. Have you been?
I can lie and say yes if you like. No, it's gone a lot better than I think anyone really would have imagined. I think everyone looks at the money we've spent in the summer and instantly thinks, well, you should be at the top, you should be doing what you're doing. But I think the thing that most people don't actually realise is that we had a turnover of about 17, 18 new players, a new manager in his first job as a number one. So I would say it's quite an achievement, but we probably won't get the plaudits anyway because of the money we spent, if we're being honest.
I was literally, John, I was taking a question I was going to say to you, because saying you've not really got the credit you probably deserve for being at the top of this table, because you have turned teams over on a very, very regular basis and played some good football from what I've seen of you doing so. Obviously, it must be frustrating because of the money being brought up all the time, and obviously, your manager when you came here had sort of like tongue in cheek said about it, and it's one of those things for a team to come down, like you say, and change so many. Has it really exceeded your expectations, do you think, in all honesty, or did you honestly come down and go, you know what, as soon as they start gelling and we start winning, we're just going to walk this league?
I'll be honest. I think most Birmingham fans, when we came down, expected to be automatic promotion. I think we all, I wouldn't say we expected to win the league, but we all thought we should be in with a really good shot of winning the league. The transfer business done in the summer, I think everyone then instantly thought, yeah, okay, we should actually do well in this league. And I mean, there was a few teams around doing a bit of business. Rotherham made, every free transfer signing under the sun, didn't they? And everyone was getting a bit concerned about them. But I think the most surprising thing is how quickly the team came together. We most of us I think all the experts sort of said, it'll be Christmas time, maybe January by the time you see the best of Birmingham. But Chris Davis has worked really, really well with the team, and we pretty much sort of gelled within sort of the first month of the season. We've adapted, don't get me wrong, and we've changed a lot from those early days. But yeah, the sort of the core aspects of how a Chris Davis team plays is pretty much the same.
We're sort of similar, John. Obviously, not quite to the same extent in that it's taken us a while to gel, and now we're on that run. There's a couple of players that I can see people in the chat asking about as well, and it's maybe a lazy question because we know a lot about particularly Alfie May from last year, but also Christian Bielik, who was with us during our promotion season a few years ago. How do they fit into your team? Obviously, particularly May with Stansfield tending to play up top, but Bielik, I think, is probably a regular starter. But yeah, how do they fit in, and how are they performing this season?
I'll be honest, I feel really sorry for Alfie May because obviously when he was signed in the summer, he was given the number 9 shirt. He's the guy that's been the league's top goal scorer. You thought he was the main man, and then of course in stepped Jay, which upset everyone, I think. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, in the early days, Davis tried to shoehorn both of them in the side, and he tried playing May in a 10, which just didn't work. He didn't suit the role at all. And we have switched them around occasionally where Stansfield's gone more the 10 and May up front. But in the last month or so, I think Davis has finally got to the point where it's one or the other. So either Stansfield starts or May is on the bench, or vice versa. As for Christian Bielik, he got made our captain in the summer, signed a new contract because we all kind of thought he would probably be one of the ones that we would lose because he's just too good. But I think that the problem was he got injured. I think it was in back end of November, December time. And the honest answer is he hasn't got back in the side since. He can't dislodge Christoph Clara or Ben Davis out the side because they're just playing too well at the moment.
Just on the manager, Chris Davis. So again, I remember saying at the top of the year, a lot of people were saying that they're trusting a rookie manager with a brand new squad, a rebuild, and all that expectation. We say rookie. I mean, obviously he's been assistant at some pretty big clubs, so let's not do him down. But a first time as the head coach, as the manager. How pleased are you being with what he's achieved this year?
Really pleased. I mean, I can't praise the guy enough. In all fairness, I think you guys will say you've probably seen Birmingham in the last 5-6 years. We've been a very low block counter attack hoofball side. In all honesty, Lucas Djukovic has kind of been our main talisman at the top end of the pitch. He's come in and just flipped the switch. We play possession based football, build from the back. We don't panic. There's no sort of direct long balls to the big man anymore. We're not frightened to play it. You will probably see on the weekend we will, switch it around a little bit. If there is a long pass on, we will go for it. But yeah, the football that Chris Davis has brought to the club is fantastic. It's winning football, isn't it? Which everyone loves.
Yeah, it's the best kind, isn't it? I love the Duke though as well. He was a good player over the years. But finally, give me some hope. I read on Birmingham Live this afternoon that you've got injury problems going into Saturday. I mean, it was 5 players potentially out. I mean, is that going to be the leveler that I'm hoping it's going to be?
No, sadly, I did see the same article. I did look at that. I think 4 of them don't get a game anyway. But I think obviously Paik made his miraculous return midweek against Cambridge, which came as a bit of a shock to all of us that Paik was back, because Paik and Owata are just different class, to be honest. We still have a few injuries, but I wouldn't say anything that will really upset us. We've had a few come back, like William Williamson's back. Obviously, we just got Kieran Dowell on the side, so we're pretty full strength, I would say.
Lovely stuff. Well, John, it's been a pleasure having you on Charlton Live this week. Thanks for joining us, and after Saturday, I hope you enjoy the rest of the season.
You too. Thanks for having me, guys.
Cheers. There we go. That's John, the Birmingham City fan, who joined us on Charlton Live this evening to look ahead to Saturday's game from a Blues point of view. Let's look ahead to it from an Addicks point of view. The Charlton manager, Nathan Jones, sat down for his pre-match presser with Terry earlier on today.
Saturday, they've only lost twice all season, and one of them was against us, of course. We're in a much better form than we were when we played them the first time around. But what are you expecting from them this Saturday?
The toughest test in the league, it is. It's the hardest place to go to. They're top of the league, so they're the best side in the league, and it'll be the toughest game.
Does that give more of an indication of perhaps where we are rather than any other game? Or?
No, look, these we know these are a wonderful side, and it's a difficult game, but we're in good form, so we're going there. It's another game. It's a game where whoever wins the game gets 3 points. If it's a tie, you get a point, and that's literally it. We don't get any more points than 3 for beating Birmingham, and we don't get any more for drawing with them. So it's just another game. It's a tough game, but every game at this level is tough. It's just a different tough. So we have to be ready for it. We have to be going into it in the best versions of ourselves, and that's all we concentrate on.
Sell-out travelling fans on the way up to Birmingham. It's probably going to be a sell-out crowd, I guess. Up at St Andrews should be an electric atmosphere.
Oh, it is. St Andrews is a wonderful place, especially now the redevelopment has made it even better. But it's a wonderful football club, wonderful football ground, real good history, good fans. Fans have been through a lot, and so look, wonderful place to go and test yourself and play. And I've been there on many occasions as a player, as a coach, as a manager. And through tough times, it was tennis balls last time I was there, and things. So it's going to be a wonderful occasion, and it is. It's a proper football club. So we're taking our proper football club to play against another proper football club. So it should be a good day.
Should be a proper football match on Saturday. 2 proper football clubs going toe to toe up at St Andrews. Mark, how do we approach this one then? Because over the last however long, since Northampton, maybe just before Christmas, we've become a good footballing side. It's been a work in process, and it took a while, but we can actually play the ball a bit now. But when we were at our best in the first half of the season, it's when we had to do a bit of pressing and containing and then attacking that sort of way. And the absolute pinnacle of that was against Birmingham City at home. So it was a different type of performance to the one we've been putting in over the last few weeks, and we'll go to a side that are very, very good. So do we? I imagine we have to revert to that type of performance, or do we just go at them? Like we can play it on the floor now.
Well, I think it's going to be one of those ones where we're not going to have a lot of possession. So it's making it count when we do have it. So we've got now, I think the X factor in all of this is Thierry Small. He's been a revelation for the last 10 games or however long it's been where he's been on that right-hand side. And we're quick. We are quick up front. I don't know, if I say not to change it, whether you would need Lieburn up alongside TC just for some physicality, because they're very a very physical side. That's what I thought when they played Newcastle in the Cup. I thought they were very physical, on the edge of dirty. And I mean, it was very much on the edge. And I remember saying in our group about, I just thought they were just a bit of a dirty side, but physical. And you've got to be physical. So they try to do to Newcastle what we should sort of like maybe do to them, maybe get in their faces a bit. But I think we're just going to have to accept they're going to have a ball more. Their midfielder, there's a Japanese lad. He is, I think, probably the best midfielder in this division, just because his movement all over the pitch, and scored a cracking goal last week as well. So, but well, like you say, we're in good form. They might be looking at getting a bit of revenge, which never works out well. So if we do what we do well, we can cause Birmingham trouble, because they are very quick and they're also quite a good counter attacking side as well. But I think if you keep solid, that can counterbalance that. And we've stopped teams playing through us a bit. So I think if everyone's switched on, and there's no reason they shouldn't be, we can do it again. And I don't say that lightly. I think we can do it 1-0 like we did here. And they won't like it. They could have 80% of it. Doesn't matter. Because, you know, it's only 3 points for beating them, apparently, according to Nigel. You don't get any more points. So, you know, we do the same thing. See if it works. Lightning can strike twice.
Is there a psychological boost for us because we have beaten them? It's us and Shrewsbury are the two teams that have beaten them this season, Tom. Obviously, both away from home as well. I mean, their home record is just ridiculous. Won 11 of their 14 games, drawing the other 3 at St Andrews. So it's a tough place to go. But we've beaten them once before.
I don't think it has any psychological implication on them. I think they'll go into it and treat it like any other game. They've just, as Mark was saying, had Newcastle down there and pushed them a long way. So I don't think they'll be worried any more than they would be, or any less than they would be. I think there's an element where we can take some confidence into that. You know, if you're in the away dressing room there, Nathan should be saying, look, you've beaten this lot already. Of course, it's a different game at their place, and it's going to be potentially a different style of performance. But the home game, as Mark was sort of saying there, the home game sort of felt like an away game, in that we were just soaking up pressure and then just clearing our lines when we could and sort of dealing with that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to press hard like we did at home. We're going to have to hassle. We're going to have to chase them down. It's going to be a tough old game. And they've got quality above and beyond some of the teams we've played recently, even if they try and play in a similar way. So I don't know. I don't think psychologically they are going to look at this and worry any more than they would at any other team. But we're in really good shape. We're in really good form. We've got some dangerous players up front, and we're very solid at the back. So I hope, anyway, it's going to just be a really, really good game of football. And we talk about the numbers down at the Valley being an issue recently. Well, okay, this game's away, but as you say, it's probably going to be a sellout. I'd like to think if we were playing this game at home sort of next week, probably numbers would be double, maybe well over what they were the other night, because it feels like it's a big game of football. So, yeah, it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I don't want to go there with a free hit, because that's the attitude that, if we lose, it doesn't matter. But I do think we're in a position to have a really good go at this game, and I do think it's possible to get something from it. I'm not going there expecting a defeat at all. I think that's probably the likely result, but I'm not going there assuming we're going to lose. And it's nice to feel that way.
I'm just looking in the chat. I mean, a couple of people are talking about team news. A couple are saying maybe they think TC's looked a little bit tired, and they're umming and ahhing about maybe starting Canoe in place of him. I mean, I personally would keep the same side. Is there any sort of changes you want to see for Saturday, Mark?
Not really, but like I say, you can see in the chat that John, who was just with us, is saying that they struggle to deal with our press, and people do say Carnu has got a very good pressing game, which he has, and he's got the more dangerous, possibly in a striking role. But I don't see the point of changing TC out if you're going to put, because he's got belief at the moment, and he's going to run at people and do take them on. I think he's changed since the start of the season. He started the season, he had a great pre-season, started in that striker role, and it wasn't really working. We want him to do so well, and then for some reason, again, everything's clicking, and it's clicking for him as well. He's a young lad, he looks tired, but I think he's still going for it, because I think no one wants to leave that team. I think if you were a player and Nathan goes, well, you're looking a bit tired, I'm going to drop you out, you'd be like, no, Gaffer, I'm good to go, I'm 100%. You wouldn't, if it was tactical, you could say, well, I'm thinking, you might be better up for coming on the second half and then running at some tired players. But we've got players on the bench who can do that now. So, no, I would be shocked if it was any other than the starting 11 we saw on Tuesday.
Yeah, Andrew's saying maybe Small will find a red shirt with one of his crosses. He's due one. I mean, he's getting better. His end product's getting better. I mean, he can still work on his shooting, that sort of stuff. Yeah, James says we just need to stay in the game for as long as possible and then nick it. Love life to the Falls says great to see the Birmingham fans overconfident. Love it. We'll get a point. Paul saying no changes to the side. Sam saying definitely take a draw, but another win would be outstanding. What if we win it, Tom? What would that do for us if we win it? And I'm not talking top two or nothing like that. I'm just thinking about the belief, and we've got so much belief at the moment already. But if we win this game, I mean, what sort of message does that send to the rest of the sides that are trying to get in that top six as well?
I was going to say, if we were to win it, the rest of the league, who, if they're not taking us seriously yet, are going to sit up and take it seriously, because yes, we beat them in the reverse fixture, and we're one of, I think you said, only two teams to do that. But when you win one game against a team like that, that could just be an anomaly. I think we worked incredibly hard for that, and I think we deserved it based on that. But let's not kid ourselves. Birmingham had a lot of the ball, and on another day could have won that game comfortably. So if we were to win it again and we do a double over the team that are top of the league, I know the money thing is an issue for their fans, but let's be honest, they've still spent it. They have spent a lot of money. They should win this league comfortably. It doesn't take away from them doing it, but they should. And if you can go there and get a double alongside doing what we've done recently, which is putting away some of the smaller teams, which, as someone said in the comments, is no mean feat, because they do work hard and they do make it difficult, and they do sort of sit in a low block, and that we've struggled with as well. I just think it would be amazing. Yeah. And basically I'm going with the hope that we can be on the train home with that feeling. And if we're not, I'm not going to be too down, but at the moment, obviously going into it, that's all I'm thinking about, is we could go there and we could win that game, and how amazing that would be. So, yeah, it would be pretty good. And as you say, it would keep that top two alive. People will be calling for the graph then, for sure, with the second place line on it. I guarantee that.
Yeah, a couple of people. I mean, Ian said he could see Aniki getting a 94th minute winner there. He did have that spell at Birmingham, didn't he? So I don't think he scored. I think he maybe only scored one in his time at Birmingham. He was only there for sort of half a season before we spent big money on getting him back with us. 2,000 of us going up there, Mark. I mean, that's a great return. It's going to be a proper away day. Birmingham away is a good away day anyway. That atmosphere in that away end is going to be magnificent.
Yeah, I mean, Birmingham, I'd put in the same category, sort of like a Portsmouth, with their fans, proper, good times, bad times, they turn up. They can grumble about the owners and the management and whatever, but they turn up. And, you've got to say fair play to the fans who do that, because there aren't that many teams who you would bracket and say proper team, proper fans. And I think Birmingham, you have to say, yeah, they've had a lot to cheer this season, because they didn't have a lot to cheer last season. But for what they've gone through, and especially having Rooney as a manager, you can say to yourself, it is one of those places. But again, is it going to intimidate us? At the end of the day, it's 11-11 on a pitch. So I don't see, and we make a lot of a noise for an away crowd, for away fans. So I can't see it being a factor which is just going to be like, oh, this is scary, let's go into a shell. So
really, really looking forward to it. Right, we've run out of time on this week's Charlton Live Big Match Preview. Massive thanks to John, who joined us earlier on the Birmingham Fan. Massive thanks, of course, to you guys who've joined us in the chat this evening as well. Don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube. Never miss another show or where you get your podcasts as well. Mark and Tom, it's been a pleasure as always.
Cheers, both.
You're welcome, Bob.
Lovely stuff. So don't forget, we'll be back on Sunday morning to look back at whatever happens against Birmingham City. I'm sure it's going to be a very, very interesting game. I'm really buzzing for Saturday. Right, just before we end the show, those of you who've been listening to the show for a very long time might remember that a couple of stories we've had quite a while ago now, actually. But my wife's great Uncle Bill. So he was the one. I told this story in 2018, so you have to have a good memory. But he's the one when we lost 3-2 at home to Oxford, when they scored twice in added time, locked himself in the bathroom. So we got a message saying, like, Amy put something on Facebook, and Amy's aunt said, "Oh, Bill's locked himself in the bathroom." And then the next day, we found out he locked himself in the bathroom at 2-2 and didn't realise we'd lost 3-2 until the day after, and apparently locked himself in there again. But also, we took him on a tour of the museum again in about 2019. Ben very kindly opened the museum just to sort of go through some of his favourite Charlton memories. Sadly, we were at his funeral today. But they spoke a lot about his love of the football club. So I'm going to give the final word to Uncle Bill.
I was born in Lewisham, and in 1931, in July.
And how long have you been a Charlton supporter?
All my life. And ever support any other team. And all my family are Charlton supporters.